We're going to talk about Cthulhu Tales with Francesco Nepitello, one of the designers of the game. And last time I saw you in Venice, we kind of didn't have the time, or we missed talking about this, but now we finally have a chance. And I guess from the design and from the name that it's likely it's similar to Hobbit Tales, right?
Yes, it is a refinement of the same design. We really liked the idea of that storytelling game, and even if it looks like 95% similar in the layout, it actually is quite different in the way it plays, because we changed the setup, we changed the way you interpret the cards. And we did that because we adapted the system to the construction of 9 out of 10 stories of H.P. Lovecraft. When we get into detail, I can show it to you how it works. But that's the idea, where Hobbit Tales is a bit more linear, more open, and gives the players a little more freedom. In Cthulhu Tales, there are limitations in there that are actually good to give hints to the players on what to do, that are very much like, they very much recreate the same literary ideas behind the stories of Lovecraft.
Okay, and as far as I remember, you told me a little bit about it last time. You start with kind of the ending, or you start with this already happened and now I have to find out how, right?
Exactly. One player is the storyteller for the turn, and then every player will take a turn as the storyteller. But the other players are called the madness players, because they will play the part of the memories, the bad memories, and the crazy things that happened in the past of the storyteller, and they will try to bring those memories to the surface. And you start by laying out 3 cards that are called the accusation, where are laid out at the beginning by one of the madness players, and the madness players himself uses those 3 cards to create the opening of the story that is exactly the ending. A lot of stories by H.P. Lovecraft started by the end, when everything already happened and we don't know what happened, and the main storyteller is musing about the events that destroyed his life and destroyed his sanity. And exactly what happens, where all the storytellers are considered to be part of inmates in an asylum or on a sanatorium. So they have to use the accusation created by another player as the starting point of the story, and they have to respect those elements and bring their story to that ending.
Okay. And then I guess the madness players, like in Hobbit Tales, they can just go in and throw you something unexpected at certain moments in the game, and then you have to adapt your story.
Yeah, that structure is basically the same, even if there's a very big improvement in layout, meaning that in Hobbit Tales you used the icons of the last and second to last cards to see if you could play any monsters. In this case, you use the icons on the last card and the card beneath it. So the type of icons basically can change every time, because when you play another card, then it will be this card and the card beneath it to trigger the possibility of madness cards to be played against you. So this is much more practical, much easier to understand than in Hobbit Tales, but to the same effect. And yes, the madness players are trying to play against you by playing down episodes that correspond to the true madness-inducing events of the story that the player is trying to downplay. Your goal as a storyteller is to say that nothing really strange happened and it was only delusions or visions, because at the end of the game every storyteller will be awarded with a number of tokens that are treatment tokens, representing the types of cure you've been administered by the medics, and these are drugs and confinement, electroshock, and so on. And you want to get the lighter treatment.
Okay.
So that's why you're trying to negate, to say that you didn't find some unutterable hideousness and it was just a vision or maybe a nightmare, or that you didn't encounter some cyclopean terror. And There's some randomness in this, because when a madness card is played against you, you roll the special Cthulhu Tales die that we like also because it has a small silhouette by H.P. Lovecraft.
H.P. Lovecraft's
Yeah.
very long face.
Yes, and also a Cthulhu face. When you roll this die, you will see if a card must be applied as a minor effect or as a major effect. A minor effect is something that the storyteller is free to downplay by saying, yes, I dreamt of a cyclopean terror. If it's a major effect, then you have to incorporate it in the story as something that really brought you to the edge of sanity. So that's the general idea. What we're really happy is the fact that combining the accusation being the final part of the story and the choice of cards and illustration, we really end up all the time with stories that are really, really close to the feeling, the flavor of the stories by H.P. Lovecraft. Of course, it helps if you are a Call of Cthulhu enthusiast or of a Lovecraft enthusiast. And we've seen many, many players really trying and succeeding in starting with the right mood. We give some hints and suggestions in the rulebook. For example, how to open your story, where Lovecraft several times opened these stories with some cosmic musings, cosmic considerations, or speaking about the past of the character. So, for example, with a card like Love of the Bizarre, you could start by saying, I was always attracted by the strange and the unusual, and that it's very much something that you could find in a story by HPL.
Okay. Thank you so much. Looking forward to how this works out and what kind of stories spring from this.
Thank you.